Amigos, amigas, bienvenidos a Lima, Peru. Welcome once again to my house here in Lima, Peru. Today we are going to discuss another history chapter of Lima, and we're going also to talk about one of the most famous cases of haunted buildings in Lima. We have many of those stories. I will be bringing also them little by little. Today we're going to talk about Hotel Bolivar. Welcome, welcome. Can you hear the music behind? Do you recognize this famous, I think, late 90s show? Hola, hola, hola. I'm seeing some comments now. Adrian, hola, hola. Natalie, hola, Marilyn. Hola, Cari. Hello, thanks for joining. So today we're going to talk about a mystery also connected with history. In less than a minute, we're going to begin. So thank you so much. The song that I was playing belonged to the intro of the X-Files. Do you remember that famous show? I think it became a success worldwide back in the days. I remember watching it with my mom always. So Agent Collie, I think, was the person, one of the persons that were involved in the cases. So, well, today we're going to dive in this new chapter of Peruvian history. I'm preparing everything here. And well, again, thanks a lot for joining. Today, we're going to discover a famous hotel, and maybe at the end of this event, you will want not just to come to Lima to stay here in Lima for some days. Maybe you would like to stay in that hotel. Who knows? Because that hotel still is, if it's functioning, it is one of the hotels we have in the historic center of Lima. So Caddy says, my sons love the X-Files. Yes, I love the show too. It was fantastic. It was one of its kind back then. Hola, hola, Arlene. Thanks for joining. You came on time to be part of this show, to see the beginning of the show. By the way, as always, in the beginning, I'd like to thank, first of all, for your presence. Thanks for taking part of your morning to join my shows. We talk about history, talk about, sometimes about food. We cook together Peruvian food. We talk about Peruvian history, and we discuss interesting themes every time, something different. I want to also thank especially my Patreons. Patreon is a platform that helps content creators to create events, like, for example, the ones I'm conducting here in Lima with the support of let's say subscribers who want to give a donation, a monthly donation. My Patreon has different options starting from $2 per month. And when people join Patreon, my Patreon in particular, they not just help me to create events, they also are active participants of the creation of these upcoming events. In this moment, we have a poll for the September events. So Patreons are the ones who participate of those. So please, if you want to help me creating content, please become a Patreon. All the information is in the description of this video. Also, you can support with a donation on PayPal. And at the end of this event, I'll tell you what you will be given in return for your PayPal donation. Any amount is welcome. Okay, so let's begin with this show. I hope you enjoy it. I've been investigating a lot for creating this specific event, because we usually talk about history. We talk about, like archaeology. I love history and archaeology. I am a professional official tour guide. I've been guiding for over 16 years here in Lima, Peru. I am pretty much married to my job. I love it very much. And sharing with you pieces of history is always, like my passion and my commitment. But today I want to also add something different to our show. And well, Hotel Bolivar is definitely one of the jewels of the city. I always begin also my shows with some quotes from Peruvian writers, poets. So today's quote is from Julio Ramón Ribeiro, a Peruvian writer. Una persona sin amigos corre el riesgo de no llegar jamás a conocerse. A person without friends runs the risk of never getting to know himself. Well, I think Julio Ramón Ribeiro is one of the wisest Peruvian men we ever had. So now we're going to talk about the origins of this hotel. We're going also to go by different parts. I want to give you also the history of the hotel, but we are also talking about why this hotel is haunted, is one of the most haunted hotels. There are a lot of reports of paranormal activities in the hotel. So we are going to also dive in the history, not just of the building, of the location. And I've been able to recopilate information from different sources about the location where this building is and why that site could be also of this active paranormal behavior, right? So some interesting things about this site is, first of all, like one of the elements that was considered to be very curious in the time of the inauguration of the hotel was that the original hotel, Bolivar, the original name of the hotel was supposed to be Ayacucho. And that is because the hotel was created for remembrance of a very important battle we had against the Spanish. For sealing, finishing the process of the emancipation and independence of Peru. So the name Ayacucho means corner of death, right? And when the name was decided, the original name Ayacucho Hotel, people didn't know Quechua really in Lima. This hotel is in Lima. So, well, the names sound good, it makes sense. But later, someone very smart recommended not to name the hotel Ayacucho because the meaning of the word in Quechua, translated into Spanish and English, Rincón de los Muertos, or corner of the dead. This hotel, this is one of the oldest pictures we have of the Hotel Bolivar. I'll tell you in a moment why it is named Bolivar. Bolivar Hotel was designed to be the new or the Peruvian version of the Ritz. And it was supposed to be the most elegant, the most sophisticated hotel of not just Lima, of the whole country. This is how nowadays the hotel looks like. So you can see some consistent differences between the original version of the hotel from the year 1924, that is the year when it was inaugurated, and the nowadays version. So first of all, let's take a look on the dimensions. The building is as big as it used to be original in this side, but on the other side, it has gained space. But this corner, you can see clearly that there are 3 storage. And let's give a look to this other one. Can you see the difference, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's even a 6th floor here, but that we don't see from this angle. So the building has had modifications to increase its size, its dimensions. So here a little information about the site. Let me read a little bit for you. The hotel was open to commemorate, of course, the Battle of Ayacucho on December the 9th, 1924, right? So the monumentality of the hotel was such that, in the days, this hotel was considered to be the beginning of the trend started by the president who was ruling back then in the country in the 1920s, they started of this trend to convert Lima city into a French style city. So we were sort of like crazy about everything related with France, related with Paris. We brought the fashion, we brought the architecture, the food also. We know even that the most sophisticated, most rich people of Lima spoke in French. Nowadays, for example, the wealthiest people, they speak in English when they don't want the rest to understand what they are talking about. By the way, in the end, this is curious because people speak in Quechua if they don't want anyone to understand what they are thinking about someone. No? But anyways, the idea was that to absorb a little bit of the French influence through the architecture that we were copying. And this architecture was, well, not really like perfect for us, but it was the intention, right? So to create a new version of Lima. The architect was Rafael Marquina, one of the greatest architects of that time. And well, the Battle of Ayacucho happened on 1824. So it was a building created to commemorate that important time of our history. So this is another picture of the hotel right after its inauguration. You can see it just has 3 floors, 3 storage, and inside was even more luxurious. I was able to find some good quality pictures to show you from the inside, but we have lots to discuss also about the hotel. So just another information, there were about 600 workers employed to work 24 hours a day to finish this building in just 6 months. They were running against the clock to inaugurate it on time. The celebrations of the independence, the centennial of the independence of Peru, were grandiose. And President, the person who decided to make all of these renovations, Leguía, he invested a lot of money. He wasted a lot of money also in constructions. Many of them were just like façadas. Inside they were really nothing, but it was just to look good. The style is called academicista in Spanish, or academic style, and has the influence of the Spanish Baroque. Originally, the hotel was, let's say, designed to be quite small, let's say, like to have about 100 rooms. Later, it was amplified, and then, well, now the hotel has about 250 rooms, but only 100 are in use. Okay, and here you can see a little bit of the process of construction of the building. Notice Lima back in those days. Lima was very short in the 1920s. Lima had no skyscrapers. Lima's highest buildings were the towers of churches. They were the only high buildings, and that is because in the colonial times, there was a belief that nobody should build taller than a church, because that meant that you felt you were more powerful than God. So people always try to build or construct below the limit of the churches, right? Remember that this building was the first, inauguration part of the building was made just in half a year, no? And everything had to be luxurious. No? So the initial design was to be about 200 rooms, then more were added, and all of the furnishing that we have inside the building nowadays was made in Europe. In the house Waring and Gillow of London, for example, and they are pieces that are original from that time in there. So this is a picture of nowadays, how it is inside nowadays, right? The most lavish parties of Lima were hosted here. Presidents visited this hotel first. They went to this hotel first. Even the pageants, the beauty pageants, happened to be here. So this was the best hotel of the city. Look at the insides, sort of like it feels like neoclassic for moments. This is the way how it also looks nowadays. Yes, Arlene, I do believe it's really beautiful. The building, it really deserves to be more famous, to be more popular. But we will also discuss why it is not anymore as popular as it used to be, right? So this is from the Nowadays Hotel. This is a piece of museum in exhibit. It's a 4T from 1920 that is in exhibit in the museum. So corresponding also to the time of splendor of Lima and the hotel. So now you know a bit of how the hotel looks outside, looks inside. So now we're going to revise the history of the hotel from its origins in terms of location, what we have registered that has happened in that location over the passing of the years. Before the coming of the conquistadors, unfortunately, we don't have clear information of any pre-Hispanic temple located there. And I always mention this because there is a lot of energy attached to pre-Hispanic temples. Many of them were also used as burial sites. We know of human sacrifices associated with pre-Hispanic temples, as well as in the rest of the Hispanic Americas. Temples were usually associated with life and death. But we don't have any information of pre-Hispanic buildings in this site. So our story will begin with the Spanish presence, the creation of Lima as the capital of the Spanish territories that were called the Viceroyalty of Peru. And in the exact location where nowadays is the hotel, we used to have a hospital connected to a church. Probably you know already that in the old times, in the medieval times, and here in the colonial era, there were not hospitals as how we know them nowadays, right? There were hospitals that were always associated with churches, because the people who took care of the sick, the disease, the people who were in bad, health conditions were priests. So churches and hospitals were side by side, were connected. So we had the Church of San Juan de Dios and also the Hospital of San Juan de Dios right next to this church, which was pretty much like an infirmary. And the way how hospitals used to be in the old days was very different. People were not really going to hospitals to be cured. And that sounds very strange, but that's the way how it used to be. People used to go to hospitals to die in peace, because many of the diseases that people had were not curable for those days. So the idea was dying in the presence of God. So how many people had died also in that location where nowadays is the hotel? Right? So many people, so many different conditions, so many diseases. So this infirmary had, so far we know, a large room with 36 beds. And there was also another section, another separate room for the priests that had 13 beds, right? So this is a drawing of the church. By the way, amigos, if you can, please help me giving me a like. That will help me a lot to position better this event and also my upcoming videos. So if you can give me a like, if you're enjoying this event, that would be super. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for events, more events like this one. So we will now continue with this other section here. This part of the image that you see here represents, gracias Natalie, thank you, represents the front, the facade of the church. Right? So the facade of the church, which is the only thing we have now. We don't have any information about how it looked inside, just descriptions, right? So we have here, sorry, we're going to erase this. Thank you. gracias. Oh, it's amazing, how important is technology for us to inform us about events. So I'm being informed of my own event by the computer. So, but unfortunately, the order of the San Juan de Dios community was not able to carry on, for continuing with this work of curing people, disease, poor men and women of Lima for too long. After the independence, things changed dramatically in Lima. One of the reasons was because Lima was already a very, very dirty city. Lima was very stinky. Lima had walls. Lima had sewers, open sewers in the middle of the streets. So the hospitals, which we had many, because they were associated with convents and monasteries, started to be, not anymore important. The hospitals were moved to other locations or were also moved into more central hospitals. So many buildings also were reabsorbed by the government. So that's the case with this building, which later was demolished to make room to the nowadays Plaza San Martin, which is a beautiful square located exactly in front to the hotel, right? So we're going also to travel a little bit back in time before we move forward to the more present era, to the colonial times of Lima. So you can see here the walls of Lima with the bastions of the city. There were many gates into Lima. You can see also the streets. It looks for moments like a checkerboard. So we have here this interesting appearance of the city, right? So we will also continue over here. So in this location where nowadays we have the hotel, so look at the building over here. This is the Bolivar Hotel. This is a more wide panoramic view of that location. You can see very, very close to the hotel, very close to the hotel, this section over here, that it has a theater. This is Colón Theater, one of the most important theaters we had in Lima back in the beginnings of the 20th century. So in this location where nowadays is these buildings and also very close to the hotel, we had one of the most famous murders of the history of Lima. The murder of a very important person associated and connected to the independence process, Bernardo Monteagudo. So let me tell you a bit of the story of Monteagudo. Now, this is a summary of the history of Monteagudo and why he was murdered, right? So Monteagudo is known as one of the most nefastus for moment characters of our history, although he's associated with the independence, but he was not loved by people, by the Peruvians. He was Argentinian, by the way. He came with the independentist mission of San Martin, Liberator San Martin. By the way, I'm going to be hosting very soon an event about San Martin and Bolivar. San Martin versus Bolivar. Both were the liberators of Peru, and both of them, are perceived completely different by Peruvians. So please stay tuned to about that event. We're going to be also talking briefly about Bernardo Monteagudo. So he came with San Martin, and then, his behavior was not really well received. He's known also to be very infamous, taking money from the Spanish who were residents of Lima. Like, he confiscated money. He was hated by everybody, and he was also a womanizer. He liked to be with women who were married. So he had a lot of enemies. He left Peru. He fled Peru in an exile. I think it was more like a self-imposed exile, because when San Martin left, he was pretty much alone. So he knew he had too many enemies. He left Peru. He went to Central America, and then he came back to Peru with Bolivar. Well, Bolivar, let's say, chose him as a sort of like a supporter, helper, advisor. But he had already too many enemies here. So finally he was killed in that location where nowadays is the hotel. It's very, very close to the hotel. He was stopped by a man. There was another man associated with the crime. The crime remains unsolved, by the way, because although the criminal, the person who said he was the one who stabbed him, like seems that he was more like persuaded to accept the guilt, like commuting, the death pain to prison. But at the end, he was killed inside the prison. No? So we will never know who was the actual killer of this man. So this murder not just happened there, very close to the hotel. Also, we know that the body of Monteagudo was buried in secret in the exact location where the hotel is nowadays. We for sure know that the spirit of this man must be attached to that location. So this is a picture of the location of the nowadays hotel. So the hotel will be pretty much here in this section. So this open is not anymore existing. We don't have anymore this sort of like little plaza. The hotel is right here. And where you see this building is where we have the nowadays Plaza San Martin. That used to be the train station of Lima. So let's talk a little bit about that in a moment, just to also, again, bring you back to the location of the hotel, why it's so important to understand also the place connecting this site with so many different events, crimes, and the sadness of the hospital, on all of that. We have here Plaza San Martin, and the hotel is right here in this location, right in front of the plaza, right? So if we use an image from Lima in the colonial times with the walls, we can also see the location, how it used to be, how it is nowadays. So we have, for example, let's use this mark. We have Plaza Mayor, main square here, right? And this is main square. By the way, you see this image upside down because in the old days, the way how Lima was portrayed was upside down to how nowadays we portray it, right? So I had to invert the image. So we have here Plaza Mayor, main square. The fountain of the main square is here. And we can see also from Plaza Mayor, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 6 is Plaza San Martin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 6 is where Plaza San Martin is nowadays. And right in front, we have the hotel, we have the plaza, we have everything here. So this is the site, the hot site that we are also talking about. And well, here we have the old train station. We know, everybody knows that in constructions like train stations, there are also accidents and people dying. We had lots of Chinese working also in the construction of the railroads in the 1850s. There were a lot of casualties that happened during those constructions, and nobody really cared on the well-being of those Chinese, of those immigrants. We also had Chileans coming to work on the construction of the first railroads and the installation of the trains. So places like that one were tragic sites, right? So you can see the name Ferrocarril Callao, the station San Juan de Dios. Do you remember the name of the church? In honor of the church and the hospital, this train station was named San Juan de Dios. Okay, so 172 years ago, Peru had the first train in Hispanic South America. We are very proud of that. Peru had a lot of money because of the guano. If you don't know what's guano, let me tell you what it is. It is poop of seabirds. We have abundance of fish here in the Pacific. It's one of the richest parts in the world in terms of plankton and fishes. And well, the birds have adapted also to also produce a lot of excrement. We have no rain in the coast, and therefore an accumulation of bird poop that is well, unusual. So bird poop is used as a fertilizer. And back in the let's say mid 19th century, we exported a lot of that fertilizer. We sold especially to France and to England, and we made a lot of money. But Peruvians live as if, like this money will never be coming to an end. And that was not the case, of course. So we spent a lot of money in the ultimate things, like, for example, trains, right? So this first train was inaugurated in 1851. And it was a train that connected Lima, the historic center, with Callao, the first port of Peru. The first because it's the oldest and also the most important of those days, and is still nowadays very important, right? So the train used to go from there to downtown Lima. Right, so you can see some pictures I found about the train station. This is the train station here, right? You can see carriages. You can see even a fountain here. So, well, a complete different view. And another interesting episode of that location is related with this building. This is something interesting. It's not really related with the haunted tradition of this place, but I found it very, very interesting. So the Cardboard Palace. What was the Cardboard Palace? Before the construction of the hotel, this is before the hotel, right? During the inauguration of Plaza San Martin on 1921, so we're talking about 3 years before the construction of the hotel, this Plaza San Martin, was not really surrounded with buildings that were French or French style. No, they were more colonial. So President Leguía, who was the same person who imposed the Hotel Ayacucho or Bolivar, he decided to create a building that will be sort of like a sophisticated enough for impressing all the visitors that we will have for the celebrations of the centennial of the independence. He was a very, poised man. He was very posh, right? So he wanted to really show off. And he didn't care much on other things. Well, the building was made on cardboard. But what kind of cardboard? The name of this material is beaver board. And it was made from a very interesting material that came from trees, but it was sort of like very soft, easy to handle, and it came from North America, right? So the building that you just saw was made on beaver board or cardboard. Okay, so we will now continue here. So this is a picture of the process of creation of that building. It just lasted few years because then after it was all removed to build the hotel. This building was sort of like a showroom for, let's say, curiosities. Also the first sort of like a cinematographical projection happened there. So it was a place connected, with modernity. And this is how it was, or it looked like when the Plaza San Martin was inaugurated. Remember that all the intention was impressing visitors. And this is a picture of the moment of the inauguration of the monumental Plaza San Martin with the hero of the independence, Argentinian hero Jose de San Martin in the middle. We don't see the statue of San Martin, but we see the cardboard palace there, right? So much money invested for just 3 years. So you can see also cars from the time, Cadillac, and that was part of the exhibit inside this sophisticated building. And you can see also very interesting picture, but from within the palace, looking in direction sort of to the plaza. Okay, we have also, thanks for the likes, by the way, amigos, muchas gracias for supporting also with a like to this event. Now we're going to talk about the more mysteries and about the mythical suicide of La Gringa. In Latin America, we refer to gringo or gringa to someone that is fair, blonde. So this lady who is reported she suicided in the Hotel Bolivar. Seems that this is more like a legend and not really a fact. I have been like searching for weeks about the information, the exact name of the woman, and nobody have the name of this lady, but it comes sort of like a myth, a legend, a tradition that there was a suicide of a woman that happened in the hotel, right, in the room 666, because there is a room 666 in the hotel, and she jumped off the window. So this the story says that she was an American tourist, right? And this is the only image I was able to find of the door 666. There is really not much information. The hotel doesn't want really to exploit more the stories of legends of the spirits, because probably they don't want to drag the wrong type of customers to their hotel. But to be honest, like, it's pointless, because most of the people who spend a night there are looking for sneaking out the room at 3 a.m. in the morning and go to the 6th floor and 5th floor to be able to record some paranormal activities. And I'm going to show you this in a moment also, because of course you have to have the full package in this virtual event. So you're going to experience how it is to be a night in the Hotel Bolivar. There is also another famous spirit, because the first one, the Gringa spirit, well, she's been reported to appear in every corner of the hotel. Many visitors to the hotel that had no idea that there were spirits in the hotel, they reported seeing that woman, seeing a blonde woman like walking behind them, like seeing her through windows or through mirrors, right? But there's another spirit that is very famous there. It's the spirit of an employee that worked for many years in the hotel, and that is there, right? And this employee worked back in the 40s, right? So, but he's been seen repeatedly by the workers of the hotel. He's so popular that everybody knows him already, right? So we're going to talk about famosos en el Hotel Bolivar, famous people, famous ghosts, maybe famous spirits that visit not just the hotel once in a while, especially the bar of the hotel, which is very popular. So who knows the name of this band? Who knows it? In their best years, by the way, they came to Peru a couple of times. Most of the times they came sort of like incognito. They were not really like making any shows here, but they are very into ayahuasca and these kind of things. So they came to Peru to go to the jungle. Yes, Arlene, the Rolling Stones, exactly. And we know of a famous episode of the Rolling Stones in the Hotel Bolivar. Bolivar Hotel back in the 70s is still, yes, Mick Jagger, Rod Wood, they came, of course, to the best hotels. They were not going to just any random hotels. So the hotel was so elegant that, well, they had a code of behavior. And back in the 70s when they came, the hotel was still considered very, very, important. It is nowadays considered a 4-star hotel. It was like a 5-star hotel. But because they misbehaved in the hotel, they were expelled. Yes, the Rolling Stones were expelled from the hotel. So here we have the proofs of that. This is the moment when they are being asked to take their things out of the hotel because they were not behaving. And one of the things, it was related also with, the looks, the appearance of them. They were not looking, like enough, I don't know, like like the gentlemen of that time. They were too relaxed, too casual. So they were also accused of, doing drugs in the rooms. Well, many things, that, wow, what a surprise. And they were expelled, amigos. So this hotel can say they expelled the Rolling Stones. Also, we have other important, figures Yes, Arlene. And the lady there is one of the most famous Mexican stars of the, the glorious days of Mexican films. Maria Felix, a beauty, a woman of a poise and elegance, a temper also, very, very important. The story says that she also made everybody shake, their hearts when she came down the stairs that we saw also during the first part of the pictures, and captivated everybody, even singing in the bar of the hotel. And Orson Welles, also the movie director, the story says, the legend says that he drank 42 glasses of pisco sour in just one night in the famous bar of the Bolivar Hotel. So we have also another famous man for Latin American people, a great star, movie star, Mario Moreno Cantinflas. So very famous man, loved by multitudes. Even I still watch his movies. They are hilarious. This man also came to the Bolivar. Right? Another Latin American famous singer in this occasion, and also actor, Pedro Infante. And who knows this lady? Who remembers her? The beautiful Ava Gardner. She was in this hotel as well. Carlos Santana also, he was not really well received by the elegant society of the days when he came to Peru for the first time. But Santana also came to this hotel. So this is an image that is in the hotel. It's let's say, a summatory of all of the famous people, characters that came to this hotel. We can also read some names like Richard Nixon, Robert Bobby Kennedy. We have also Ernest Hemingway. I'm trying to choose the most famous around the world. Clark Gable. Also, he was here. And Walter Disney. In this section, you can see him. So, among many other men, women who visited this hotel. Many say that the parties at night that happen when everything is, lights off, are conducted by the spirits of these famous stars. And how is a night at Bolivar Hotel? Okay, so I would like to play for you a video, which you can also see on YouTube full. I have just chosen the best moments. I invite you to go later to see this video, although it's in Spanish, but you can feel the emotions of the person that spent one night there. Also, the link to this video is in the description of our channel. Just give me a second. We're going to go out here. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, sorry. We have to go backwards to see it. Just give me a second.
¿Cuántas habitaciones tienen ahorita funcionando? Como podrás ver, inicialmente fueron 300, ¿no? Pero ahora hay solamente 100 habitaciones.
The lady informs to this group of YouTubers that are, of course, for the reasons why. They are asking how many rooms are functioning now. She says about 100 only, because the floors 5 and 6 are closed. It looks like horror movie, he says. The radio, the old radio, still feels there's connection.
Grábate en el espejo para
They are repenting a little bit of staying overnight in the hotel. This is really a small clip of less than 5 minutes of a big 20-minute stay for them in the hotel. No? They also consulted to a paranormal specialist to join them, measuring the electromagnetic energies.
No.
Even a Ouija board for communicating. And their plan was to stay awake until 3 a.m. to walk into the section of the hotel that was closed. The worker informs also of another spirit of a child, the niño de la escalera, the child of the staircase, that is usually seen. They are using regular cameras and seeing strange, like dots in the pictures. These are called orbes or orbs in the slang of the specialists in the paranormal. And this is now the night walk in the hotel. After everybody is asleep, they are not supposed to do this, but they are courageous enough to go out and explore a bit. First, they are starting with the room, and this YouTuber mentions that there is a presence in the bathroom. He's feeling something cold behind him.
Pero ¿por qué pese así de la nada, carajo? ¿Vas a estar con su cámara ya?
No, es que no estoy bromeando, pero se haciendo siento demasiado en el baño. Sí, yo también he sentido cosas ahí. No, pero te lo juro, sentí como...
They are all agreeing that there's something in the bathroom. And there was a movement in the chandelier up there. Oh yes, Ardeen, me too. I would, I love you very much, dear friends, but I would not stay one night there for doing the video for you. So now they are going out to walk the corridors, 3 a.m. in the morning. And they are going up to the floors that are closed. But it is not just that easy, because there is a very strong energy in the top floors, as they said. Loaded, cargado is what they said.
Vamos a dar la vuelta para ver si...
Look at that, look at that. Can you see that? Did you see that? They came down like crazy. That was the closest encountering they had with the presence of that is called the child of the stairs. They were not able to see La Gringa, but I don't think they need to go back there. So, and that is just a short clip of this video that I found very interesting. I tried to just summarize parts that were, more highlights, but you can see the full video here in the link on the description box of this event, okay? See it at night with no lights around you. So just to remind you, amigos, to my Patreons, to my Patreones, thank you so much once again for helping me to create events. You can become my Patreon easily with as little as $2 per month. There is also a $5 like section, $10 section, $20 section. They all receive the same, but it's just, you know, like a different levels of compromises, because not everybody has the same amount to support, and I know how is that. So anyone that wants to support can do it with as little as $2 per month. So you can also help me to create events on Patreon, deciding which events will be the next ones to come. For example, in this moment so far, you know, we are choosing in Patreon the upcoming events. So you can also figure which ones are going to be the ones that are coming in the next series on September. Okay, only 4 of these teams will come, so we need more votes, because the top 4 are the ones that will be, let's say, in the next section on September of these shows. Thank you so much to my Patreons. Here you see my dear friends who are being part of this project. Muchas gracias. I love you very much. And don't forget that we have a next lecture from home on next August 23rd. This event is going to be about differences between the Liberators, San Martin, and Bolivar. So please don't forget to come. If you want to see this event again, the full event, you have 2 options. You can support on a Patreon. Let me turn the camera in my direction. So, hi, hello. You can support on Patreon. You're going to be able to see a full library of events to replay. So you have no limits to see all of my events there on Patreon. Or you can help me with a donation on PayPal, and you're going to be given in return a link to the recording of this event, the full event. You're going to be able to see a recording as many times as you wish. So thank you so much for your love, for your support. It means a lot to me having you in my home every week with one more team. I'm doing these events 1 per week because I want them to be very well prepared with lots of information that you can also contrast with other sources that can be of your good use for you, not just for entertainment, also for educational purposes. Muchas gracias. Gracias, Marilyn. Always a pleasure to have you, amiga. Gracias, Cari. Gracias, Arlene. Gracias, Natalie. Abdul. Gracias. Thanks for joining. And well, see you on a next occasion. Next week, we're going to be traveling to Ayacucho. So if you want to know about the place that almost gave name to the hotel, come with me. We're going to be on a trip, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Well, have a lovely day and see you soon, amigos. Hasta pronto. Bye. Ciao. Have a lovely day. Have a lovely rest of the week.